Welcome to the March issue of Shutter Magazine. I've got a Lumix camera all set up on a tripod here. In fact, it's an FC1000. It's set up. I've got my phone app right here, and hopefully technology is going to be on my side today. In January, February, and March, I've talked about, even though it's the slow season for revenue, it shouldn't be the slow season for you. There's so many things you can be doing in January, February, and March to build a foundation for a great year in 2018. Now, this month I talked about customer service, I talked about pricing, I talked about community involvement, a lot of different things you can do in this last month of the slow season, just to wrap it up and make sure that you're ready to go when April comes and business starts picking up again. But one thing I glossed over at the very end was just talking about burnout and knowing when to take a break. And I just thought for this month it'd be a good thing to talk about, because even though it might seem counterproductive, you can't be good to anybody else if you're not being good to yourself. And if you're feeling stressed, if you're ready to just crash and burn, you're not going to be any good to anybody, and that includes your family. So right off the bat, know the signs. Know when you need to take a break. It might be for an hour, it might be for 2 hours, maybe you got to walk away from the business for a day or two. Maybe it's a project you're working on and the creative juices just aren't flowing. Know when to take a break and recognize the signs. Next in line, this helps me, you need to have a routine. You need to start out the first part of your day with a specific routine. I'll give you a good example. I'm up usually 6:30, I work on a couple of tweets right off the bat, check my email, then around 7:30 or so, Sheila and I head out and do a morning walk. Exercise has been critical in changing my ability to just come up with new ideas and things that I love to do more. It just makes you feel better in terms of things you're working on if you feel better. We'll come back in, I'll work for a couple hours, we'll have breakfast together, and then I'm off for the rest of the day on whatever comes up. But those first few hours are spent with social media things that I always want to do, with checking my email and seeing if there's anything I've got to follow up on from yesterday, and then using my whiteboard to kind of lay out my plans for the rest of the day. Next in line, there are two of them together. Stop taking side trips. Stop dealing with trolls. All they do is waste time. And when I say side trips, we all do it. We're focused, we're doing something, we're moving right along at top speed, and something comes up and we decide, we lose our point of focus and we start working on something else. Now, if you were doing a portrait of a client, you wouldn't be moving the camera around every 5 minutes to see what else in the room looked good. You'd focus right in on the client. There's a great line I heard years ago that if you're going on an elephant hunt, stop chasing rabbits. And that's what so many of us do, me included. So when you're sitting there working and you decide to go check Facebook and you want to see how many people liked an image you posted, stop getting into it with the trolls. You're never going to make everybody happy, and as an old buddy of mine used to say, Dean Collins' favorite quote was, "Remember, beauty is in the eyes of the checkbook holder." And so many of you get so wrapped up in sharing images on some of the forums that when somebody doesn't like an image, you're off and running, ready to go, ready to play defense, ready to attack, ready to shred anybody that didn't like your image. The reality is it doesn't matter. And that's another thing that I've never figured out. So many of you spend so much time sharing images that you want to create and share with your peers. It doesn't matter what your peers think. It's important, and I get it, but when it comes to your business, it's your clients that you've got to appeal to. It's your clients that have got to be happy with your image. It's not your peers. And I'm an administrator on Facebook wedding forums. I love it, but I'm blown away by how many photographers get upset when other photographers aren't crazy about their images, and it's just a waste of time. Last on the list, learn to prioritize. You've got to establish your priorities. There's a great line that Sheila helped me get in my head years ago, "To thine own self be true." Shakespeare wrote it, but we've all got to live it. You can't be good for your family, for your wife, your husband, whoever's special to you in your life. You can't be good for them if you don't take care of yourself first. That means getting enough sleep, drinking water during the day. That means knowing when to take a break and walk away from the business before you crash and burn. So you've got to establish your priorities. If you take care of yourself first and make sure you're in a good place and your head is in a good place, then next in line comes your family and your friends, and then comes your business. So many of us get so wrapped up in thinking that the business is everything. The business is not everything. The business is what helps you do all the things you need to do for your family and to live a lifestyle that's important. And what good is learning to create the finest images of your life if you crash and burn and lose your family and friends in the process? So, know when to take a break. Want to wish everybody a terrific March and a terrific kickoff to a new year, because business generally starts to pick up for everybody starting around early April, especially with wedding, portrait season. Remember, you've got Mother's Day, Father's Day, and graduation coming up. You've got the second biggest seasonality of the year coming right after March. And that's it for this month. Thanks for following me on Shutter Magazine. And if all works,